And I'm here with Raufeon Stots, who is fighting Marcos Breno October 19th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia at the PFL Battle of the Giants card. Big fight coming up. Your first fight of 2024 pushed back a little. So I guess this made for kind of an interesting training camp because you had a date and then it didn't happen. And now you've got another date for the same opponent. So first of all, just what has that been like? Were you able to utilize the extra time?
Yeah, it's just felt like a long, super long training camp. I had got down to I think the last week, so I finished my last hard session, and then I got the call that they were moving it to like a month later. So I took a break, kind of like a week to just hang out with the family and stuff, and then I just got right back into camp. So I almost had like a pre-camp before my camp. So that was I know it's gonna be useful come fight time because I'm like that much more ready, for the fight. For my family, it just felt like a long time, you
Probably,
know.
probably chomping at the bit, no doubt, to finally get in there. I don't think we ever heard what the holdup was. Like, was there an injury? Do you know?
As far as for the first fight,
Yeah.
no, I literally think because I mean they told me I didn't have no injury or anything like that, and from what I'm assuming, I don't think my opponent had injury because they just moved it, a month later. I'm thinking, and what was told to me was that they needed me for the Francis Ngannou card. So in my head, it's like they wanted a Temu version of the Francis Ngannou fight with Renan Ferreira. So they got like a African and a Brazilian on the undercard to like boost up the pay-per-view sales. So that's what I'm gonna think it is. You got your big giants, battling, and then you got your little big giants, battling. So
You are definitely smaller and obviously a lower weight class. I wouldn't call you Timu though. I wouldn't do that to you.
you say you would
um,
do what?
I wouldn't call you like the Timu version though. I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. What
You're
would
a
you say?
champion in your own. I mean,
Just
you're a
a small,
champion in
yeah,
your
yeah.
own
I
right,
am a
right?
champion. You're right. We're
And
just a
speak.
smaller version. We're a miniature version of the.
There you
I mean,
go.
those guys are huge. Those
They
guys are.
are. They are. I know there's that photo of Ngannou back in the day next to like Mighty Mouse. It's crazy, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a big fight. Your first fight of 2024. I
Mhm.
imagine that's kind of driving you nuts just not being in there. So, what has this year been like for you?
Yeah, man. A lot of waiting and anticipating something to like pop off. And I don't hold what is that Bellator or PFL to fall. Just because I know there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, that I can't, see. But I've been like asking for fights, and I've been, yeah, chopping at the bit. So now that I finally like got one, I feel like a breath of fresh air. It can kind of be let out because now I'm actually get to express myself and kind of let loose on somebody. But yeah, man, this whole year I've been doing other things. I started other businesses and things like that. But as far as like fighting, I've been training. Helping other people train for camps. I've also been doing like 2-a-days. Without any fight schedule. So yeah, I'm just ready. I'm ready to get in there.
Well, sounds good. Before we jump into this fight, you mentioned getting into some businesses. What have you gone
Yeah,
into?
yeah. I just do. So I started a trucking business, and I started a I do hire cars. So I rent out like 7 cars on Turo type of thing. And I like real estate. I'm renting out a house. So yeah, like just like stuff to like kind of that I can do outside of fighting to kind of keep me busy and to like build wealth, things like that.
Absolutely, you got to branch out. I like the Turo idea. As a journalist who covers events, I have actually used Turo before. For example, those
Yeah,
ride shares definitely help.
yeah,
Jumping into this fight, there's going to be some travel here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first time fighting, at least as a pro outside the U.S. So, what are you kind of anticipating, and are you worried about the travel aspect?
yeah. I've been asking around, man, just asking for tips for advice. I'm not necessarily worried. competed. I've wrestled overseas in Turkey and Bulgaria. But yeah, this is my first time fighting out overseas. So yeah, I wouldn't say like nervous. I'm a little, I guess, apprehensive. I don't really know what's gonna happen. But I'm excited, you know, because it'll be something different, something new. You know, every camp that I have, I expect something to be new. You know, no camp is ever the same. No fight is ever the same. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun experience to, you know, fight in a different place. I got 2 things on my list I want to do. I want to ride a camel before I leave there, and I want to wear one of those sheiks or dashiki things. You know, but yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Well, I hope you get to do it. Is it added motivation too to be on a card? Like you said, you know, you're thinking they wanted you for this card. Is it added motivation, a little more exciting because you are part of the return of Francis Ngannou, for example?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not only Francis Ngannou. This is the biggest card of PFL. This is like what they put all their eggs in the basket. You know, they put all their eggs into this event. You know, this is a huge event. You know, it's a worldwide, you know, stage, and yeah, you got tons of talent. You know, across the whole main event, across the whole card. You know what I mean? So I'm lucky to be, you know, on this card. You know, there's a lot of eyes. I think they're going to be coming over from boxing because of Francis Ngannou. You know, also because PFL, this is their I think this is their first pay-per-view event. I don't know if the Champs versus
PFL.
Champs pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think PFL champs versus Bellator champs, but this is their first super fight card technically.
Super fight card. Yeah. So yeah, I'm super excited. I think I'm in a much better position as far as like eyes, you know, because of who's on the card and the magnitude of the card itself. So yeah.
Well, good stuff. Obviously, Cyborg Pacheco, like you said, there's a lot of good fights on there. And your fight, Marcos Breno. Talk to me about him. Talk to me about the opponent here. From what you've seen of him, what's your takeaways?
Yeah, I think he's like I said, a strong, powerful Brazilian. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know, he comes to fight every time. You know, he has power in both of his hands. I think he's pretty well-rounded as a fighter. He's young, but he's not really. You know, he's pretty experienced. You know, he doesn't have a lot of I guess Bellator or PFL experience. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he's gonna come out with a chip on his shoulder because he also hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't fought in like I want to say over a year. So I understand what that chip on your shoulder is like, you know. And then he also has the added pressure of losing his last fight, you know. So that puts a different type of fire inside of you, you know. So I definitely think he's going to come out guns a-blazing. You know, me too, just because of my layoff and where I believe I should be, which is in title picture. So yeah, you're going to get a fun fight because of that.
You know, you mentioned his last fight. He has a 1-1 record in Bellator, I believe. He's lost to Danny Sabatello, who is a guy that you are very familiar with, and who you are coming off a win over. So was there any surprise, and I don't want to MMA math this up, but was there any surprise when you saw Breno's name and you go, man, I just beat the guy he lost to?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely look at that, but also look at the circumstances, you know. I don't feel like everybody does the best with Sabatello because of the mental warfare that he brings, you know. Yeah, especially him being a younger Brazilian fighter. I think he let that like being so angry at him, that pent up aggression, you know, I think he misused his energy systems with that. And yeah, so I'm kind of scratching that fight from his just from his resume, because I feel like that was a bad outing because of the situation.
Yeah.
So I don't take away. I'm kind of scratching that that last loss he had just because of the situation. But even if that wasn't the case, you know, I believe I'm still gonna run through him like sliced butter, just because of who I am. You know what I mean? I think my resume speaks for itself. You know, the only losses I've had have been against world champions, and or it's the current world champions, the two current world champions right now. So I believe I'm at a certain caliber, and I can't allow myself to you know, lose, because or I have to dominate and finish this fight in spectacular fashion because of who I am and where I want to be.
I love that mindset. And I wanted to ask you about that actually, because you have only lost to the best of the best and obviously patchy mix. And you were a champion going into that fight. Okay, it's the interim champion, but you still held it. You go all the way to the final. How hard was it for you to, if you ever lost it, how hard was it for you to kind of regain that mindset going in to this, saying, I have to win because of who I am. I have to get a big finish?
I don't know if I've ever lost it, just because like the two losses that I have, you know, not to take away from anything that those fighters do, because I respect those two dudes. But I feel like they were flukes, you know. I feel like and the only reason I say that is because they have not and cannot recreate what they did in that fight, you know. Yeah, so that's the only loss I have. So it's hard for me, you know, and it could be like hard-headedness, you know, because every fighter like makes excuses, you know, and I'm gonna make excuses. I don't give a damn, you know. But I think so it's hard for me to like. It's hard for me to get down, because it's like I didn't really get beat up, and I also didn't really get to show what I'm capable of during that fight, you know. So yeah, that's hard for me, and it could be just because I'm hard headed, you know. But yeah, so I don't feel like I ever like lost my confidence in myself. You know, even though I lost in spectacular fashion, and one of the, or both, like some of the biggest moments, you know. But I've also done great things in some of the biggest moments of my life. So yeah, I take it as Anthony Pettis told me once. He was like, never believe how great people say you are, and never believe how bad people say you are. So I kind of like those losses. I take kind of like they just roll off my shoulder, because I know, you know, what I'm capable of, and what I do every day to be great, and that doesn't take away from who I am.
Well, love the mental fortitude. Great advice from Anthony Pettis, of course. Going to ask you one more before I let you go. With this fight coming up October 19th, we're coming up to the end of the year. What's the goal moving forward? You get your hand raised here. You got 2 wins in a row. I mean, are you looking for more big fights? Is there any interest in the PFL tournament format? Where do you see yourself in 2025?
I see myself back in title picture. I'm also open to whatever, you know, opportunities the PFL want to afford me. My main focus is to stay busy. You know, I think no matter what, if I stay busy, you know, good things will happen. And I also want to. I feel like I'm in the prime of my career. I don't want to waste this time, so I just want to stay busy.
Well, hope that works out. Looking forward to the fight, October 19th, Saudi Arabia, PFL Battle of the Giants. Raufeon, thanks very much for the time today. Best of luck.
Thank you.